Well, hello, friends, and welcome to From Busy to Rich, the podcast designed to inspire you to increase profitability and quality of life, not just for you, for your advisors that are listening to, but also for those that we serve. I'm Justin Lakin. We have Wes Young here as well as always. Today, we're just going to continue on this conversation that we've been having about last week's topic of let the games begin, whereas the first time we're really talking about what game is it that you want to play. And today, we're going to just evolve that conversation a little bit further of what's next in that process. So Wes, give us a quick recap of how would you define and summarize the point of conversation of what game are we playing and how do you get to pick and choose that?
Yeah, I would ask everybody, if you didn't catch last week's episode, it's kind of like you're coming in the middle of the movie. So go back and check that one out because it'll really be so much more meaningful to you. But by the way, because most people don't follow my directions anyway, I'm going to give you a quick recap. Here's the thing is most of us, the priorities we have, the tools and standards of excellence that we use, they should be a byproduct of the game you want to play, not the other way around. And the thing in our business and in life, most people in life have not taken the time to design or state to themselves the game they actually want to play in the life they want to live. And so as a result, what we do, we inherit games to play, standards of success. We inherit ways to do things, operational procedures, tools, tricks, tips. And we may even win at that game we inherited, but you might not like that game. And you might not like the way you're having to play that game. So our whole big idea last week was if you're going to play this game of life well, you want to take regular time to decide and declare, what is my exciting vision that I want to move towards? What would a game be that I would be excited about over the next 3 years to win at? And the way you build that a lot of times is you have a grateful condition. And that just involves you looking back and saying, what are my highlight moments over life? The things that I've really enjoyed, they give me energy. I have great enjoyment, satisfaction, meaning from that. If I was to tell the younger version of myself, all these things occurred, that they would be excited. They'd be happy because that's going to give you both gratitude over right now, which is fuel. Fuel comes from two things as you're navigating the game of life. It comes from a grateful condition, and it also comes from an exciting vision, because anything worthwhile, you're going to have to overcome hard things. It's going to require energy. But if you want to keep the energy as healthy as possible, you need to keep both in check. Enjoy where you are on your way to where you're going. And so we gave you an exercise to kind of wrap that up and a lot of tools and tips around it. Today, where I want to go is take a step further. And I love, you've heard me say this before, Carl Richards' definition of meaningful financial planning. You could also substitute meaningful life planning, is about the alignment of the use of capital. Capital has an asterisk, time, talent, energy, attention, with what you really care about. And so once you know what you really care about, and you've got your grateful condition of where you've come from, then the alignment process has to begin, where you're aligning all the possibilities that you can have in order to get you where you want to go and play the game that you want to win at. And the one we want to hit on today that I love is, I want you to shed unnecessary weight. And here's what I mean by that is, we all, again, came out of the Olympics. If you're depending on when you're watching this, you could wear a weight belt and compete in gymnastics. There's no rule against it. You could wear ankle weights. You could wear, ankle weights to run the marathon, to do the triathlon, to wrestle, to do any of those things. But you're not going to win. And you're certainly not going to enjoy the game as much. Now, maybe for training, that was great because it made it harder for you to where you actually were playing. But there are so many things. And when I observe advisor practices all the time, even my own, and we'll talk about a recent development for us, where are we wearing weight belts? Where are we making this thing harder than it needs to be? Maybe because we've inherited an approach that worked okay. It's not the best one anymore. We need to upgrade and update and take that weight belt off. And so what one of the things I want to talk about today is meetings. So to build the scope of this out, here's what we used to experience, and see if this resonates with you. You've got a week full of meetings next week. And you hopefully are preparing for those meetings this week. We'll use for us, we're very structured. We have mid-year meetings, we have year-end meetings, and we have an onboarding process for new clients coming in, but we put everybody on a mid-year and year-end. Mid-year is a pretty big lift, just simply because we're helping the client understand where they are now relative to where they've come from, because now you have history, and talking about all the changes in between. and then talking about the things on their strategy summary that they've been getting every month that are in progress and who's holding it up and hopefully moving that thing forward, what's upcoming and what's on hold, and then giving other insights or moving money around or placing products or whatever we might need to do, making sure tax strategies being coordinated appropriately. So all that stuff, right? So used to be, here's the way we do that, is we operate, and again, if you don't have these positions, you are this position. You just may not be the best person at this position right now, but we have paraplanners, and a paraplanner's job is to prepare the project manager for the lead advisor. Now, sometimes that project manager is the lead advisor, and sometimes if it's me, we use me and Justin and Cody are good examples of this. But let's say that I'm the lead advisor on a client. Let's say Justin is the project manager, and we'll say Seth is the paraplanner. So the paraplanner's job is to prepare all the stuff that we need for that mid-year meeting in light of what that client's story is. And we have specific checklists for it. But let's say you don't have a checklist. He's trying to cobble together and remember everything that client might need for this particular meeting, looking at meeting notes in the past. Maybe he's looking at all the things on the strategy summary. Maybe he's looking at where the balance sheet was before, updating numbers, that kind of thing. And he delivers that to Justin, and then Justin looks at it and says, "Okay, let me get my head around this." You ever said that? Let me get my head around this. And it takes a while for him to like go, "Okay, this was here. Let me read this note. What do we want to do with them? What are all the ideas and strategies that exist out there we could possibly use? What about this concept? What about this?" So he's cobbling all this together, and he does that the week before. And then Monday, that's our prep day for the meetings of that week. We all sit in a room or on a Zoom in our case. And Justin then comes up and says, "Hey, what about the Johnson family? And his job in that meeting as the project manager to prepare me to have a really dynamic conversation. And we'll talk about what parts he wants to lead. And so he's going, well, let me think. Cause I did that on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday came, and, I went to a party, and my kids did this, and then we slept a bunch, watched 8 movies. Well, let me get my head back around that again. Right? You ever done that? And again, this is true. If you're the single advisor and you prepared the week before, you're still doing this on Monday morning, right? It's like, well, hold on. I think, so everybody's watching you get your head around this because we're all in a room, you're using everybody's time. And you get your head and kind of cobble it together. And then I'm getting my head around it. And you're saying, okay. And so here's the agenda, I think. Anything you want to add? And we do that, right? And then we have the meeting, and maybe the meeting we're lucky and it's on Tuesday, because Tuesday I'm at least a little fresher, but still not totally fresh because we had a bunch of other prep meetings that week and I did sleep. And then you're in that one and you're like, wait, let's get our head around it maybe before the meeting again. And then if the meeting's on Thursday, Justin, can you imagine if the meeting is on Thursday? We don't even remember who this person's name is sometimes. It's like, all right, let me get my head back around it. And we're cobbling together and we're going, okay, what do we need to do here? And then, what if, and then the client rescheduled. Client needed I'm so sorry, I can't make the meet. Can we push it to next week? And then the cycle repeats over and over and over again. And it is like, go ahead.
I was going to say the funniest thing about that entire statement you just said is that, I have a 1-year-old and you said, I get a bunch of sleep. That's the biggest joke over here.
I didn't say a bunch. I didn't say you slept. You slept some since then.
Very little. But no, to give context for those of you listening, Wes could have 10 to 12 meetings on his book. I could have 10 to 12 meetings on my book. Cody can have 10 to 12 meetings on his book. As your business grows, you got across several different advisors, almost 40 meetings to go through all of this. How do you systematically keep all that in check?
And here's the worst thing. Here's what you don't want to be. You don't want to be in that client meeting saying, hold on, let me get my head around this again. Because you've had meetings with professionals, and I use air quotes on professionals, and you're like, you're preparing now in this meeting. What do we want to talk about today? That's a terrible question. If you ever ask yourself that or ask a client that question, you have not done a good job preparing for that meeting. And this is true. Now you can look and go, Wes, I don't have all those people, though. You are those people. Then you're doing that. You're just doing it all by yourself. And you still have to go through those same iterations every single time. So here's what I want to give you. I want to give you a gift today that is going to change your life if you do it. And here's it is, very simple, very simple. So here's what happens is same process, right? The week before, the client meetings the next week, and Seth gets his head around it. Gets to, now his job is not to decide everything that needs to go on in the meeting. He'll grow to that, but we just need to be a great preparer, great paraplanner. We need to be technically astute to the level he's capable of, or grow into it if he's not. And we need him to be accurate on the things that are produced that he gives us. And so we have a checklist for that. And that checklist, the paraplanner knows if they miss something, it's because they didn't read the checklist, right? And so they then give this thing to Justin. They do a Loom video, or you could do a Zoom video. It's not a meeting. Okay. And this internal use only, right? And you're not showing non-public information, but you end up doing this little 5-minute video. It's also not exhaustive. It's not an email. It is a 5-minute Loom video that goes to them. And on that Loom, it's going to show Justin everything he needs to have a great meeting with that client. And as the project manager here, now his job is to take that and actually do the Loom video for me to say, hey, okay, the 5-minute Loom video, he's got his head around it. He says, Wes, here's the agenda. It's always in the upper right corner of the Loom video. And here's the flow of this meeting. First, we're going to talk about the cross-data financial snapshot that shows where they were last year versus this year in a picture. Then we're going to go down to the detailed balance sheet and look at the incomes as well along the way. We're going to talk about what changed in between now and then. We're going to specifically then pull up their strategy summary and talk about, and you're seeing all this on the screen. So if I want to pause it to look deeper into the balance sheet, I can. If I want to pause it to look deeper at some other thing he's showing, I can. I can let it play. And then he's going, and we're going to talk about this thing that needs to be executed, this strategy that needs to be implemented. We're also going to renew their minds to the variable fixed conversation. Money goes down, we put money in. Money goes up, we capture profits. We're going to have a deeper conversation around the estate planning thing that's not been done yet, and estate flows or tax. We need to remind them of the tax plan that we want to coordinate with the CPA to make sure it's been done. And this other idea we came up with along the way. Here are their in-force illustrations. He's going to show those on the screen. He's not going to be exhaustive. He's just going to show me the page I want. I can pause it if I want to look deeper. And here's all the things I think we need to do. And he has a checklist for that. All the things that need to be on there so he doesn't forget or doesn't miss it. And at the end of that, he's done. And I've got a 5-minute video that gets my head around it really, really fast. And so on Monday, he does that on the week before. That Monday, I watch it. And then I may shoot an email back to him and say, hey, Justin, everything looked great. Totally agree. One thing I would add to the agenda is this, or one additional knowledge piece I think we should include is this. But it's 5 minutes. And you know what, Justin, at that point, to get his head around it, you know what he does? He watches a 5-minute Loom video and it gets his head around it. This is also a trick for like when I go do talks somewhere, where I teach our class Transform, I go listen to the session from last time I taught the class or the last time I did a similar talk. And instead of starting from ground zero, you can listen to it and then you can make your notes along the way and get real creative and enhance it and actually go, oh, we even do a new idea now that we didn't do before. So let's include that. But it's given us back hours of just prep time in that. But then think about this. Then we get the meetings on the Tuesday, and that's great. 5 minutes, the 10 minutes before I can watch a 5-minute video, make sure my head's back around it. Thursday comes around. Now, Thursday, remember, we don't even remember what's going on because we've had so many meetings. I watch a 5-minute video, my head's back around it. I didn't spend time cobbling all that together. I didn't wear an unnecessary weight belt all week going, oh my God, this meeting's coming. I got to get my head around it. Because, if you have if you have 12 meetings in a week or 11 meetings, it's like you're carrying an invisible weight of going, man, all the things. I mean, how many times, you know why? How many times am I going to have to get my head back around it? And that's non-existent if you use this video because you get your head back around it instantly. And then you can go in and you have a great meeting. And if the client reschedules, you're not mad at them because it's like, no big deal. I still got the video. And you have an archive, by the way, of what you talked about, what you were going to talk to him about last time. So checklists and these videos are just game changer. Justin, I just want to get this has been something we've just recently introduced over probably the last 6 weeks. And it has radically altered our joy level and our operational capacity. So Justin, I want to get your insight into this.
Yeah, those are the three kind of big things. Yes, it increases efficiency for us, big things from a capacity standpoint, because at some point as you grow involved, whether you're just a single person right now or you've got multiple people on your team, you're going to hit, that threshold, right? As you grow and increase your business, you're going to hit the next threshold of whatever that is in the evolution. So it's always looking for that efficiency. And for us, like, this dramatically increased that efficiency. But for me, like, my personal things that I take away, like three big ones, is one, it removed like the chances from an error standpoint. Because if you go down the list, like, you don't forget anything. And not only did I not forget anything, but I'm going through that list so much faster than doing it from memory. Because otherwise I'm going through it and I'm like, oh, I need to go pull this too, right? Like, even though I'm going to get there, it's going to be more of a windy road versus just boom, 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 boom. Checked, everything's done. I've got what I need. Now I can dive into this. And so that the next thing, so that's number one from that standpoint. I don't have to worry about missing anything. Two, the fact that I can then focus so much more time on what I really enjoy is creative strategy. What haven't we gotten done yet? What can we get done? What new knowledge pieces do we have available, like you were talking about, that could really help add value to this client's story? Because otherwise you spent 30 minutes or 45 minutes, however long, just getting to that point, and you've got 4, 5, 6 more other things. Like, your time spent in your brain capacity to focus on, like, creatively, like, moving things is just so much less. And then the last one you hit on it for me is it's no longer renting space in my head the whole week leading up to it. Like, my brain is free of, like, I don't have to worry about what meetings are on Tuesday. I know we're prepared for it. So on Tuesday, before that meeting, I already have time on my calendar to make sure I get to it. Like, that for me is absolutely huge from, like, a burnout capability standpoint. Because some people, I know some of our advisors, you mentioned having 12, maybe 15 of those meetings in a week. Like, they're like, no way, I couldn't do that. Like, it seems too much. And it would be, and it is for me too, especially if I don't have something that can get me back into the right mindset quickly. If I've got to stay there all week, I just can't carry that. I can't do that.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think this is great. If you do these things, it's going to dramatically increase your profitability, your quality of life for you, but also for everybody else that's part of your team and everybody else that you serve. Checklists are critical to this. When we teach Transform, our 11 sessions, we go through a lot of stuff like this. We actually give you checklists in Transform to be able to do these kind of things. This, as well as narrative checklists, that all the hundreds of thousands of combinations of ideas out there, what are easy ways you can just glance over at that palette and pick a color to paint on the easel instead of trying to remember all the colors. There's certain things that you just should not keep lists of in your brain. And the meeting prep is one. And the ideas and things that you might put into that is another. So love to have you be a part of that. You can go to our website, Wes Young Live, and check in on more stuff there, courses we have and tools we have available for you.
Wes, great feedback. Thank you all for listening. Just remember, sometimes the part of the next evolution is not the sexy stuff. It's being really, really good at the fundamentals, so you can do the other stuff that gets you excited and your clients excited. So again, head over to our website for more free resources. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to next time.